the ultimate meta game of life, or meta strategy, or how to win. So this kind of tails with videos like You Are Different that I've made in the past. And the point of this video is basically to just explore the idea that life is really complicated, right? Reality is super complicated. And so even things which are look very shallow and simple, like money, are actually very difficult to get. And there's so many variables that you need to change all the time. So most of the time, you're doing something, you're just not getting any success in the area that you want. And then you wonder, well, why? Why am I not succeeding? And so you don't have an answer. You just fail and you give up. Most people, 99%, will just give up on something because it's difficult. It's not working. So why continue? Seems logical. But the issue is you don't consider how there's so many variables to life, right? There's so many things, really things that you don't even see. It's about what you see as well, because if you don't see all the variables, how can you account for them? It's almost like trying to predict the weather. Forecasting is so inaccurate, we don't even try. And you kind of do the same thing with your life, but I'm telling you that with your life, it's easier. There is a possibility that you could understand at least one facet more by examining all the variables, all the possible factors, and then working on them. And yeah, just realizing that reality is like the infinite machine is a great analogy for this, because you realize there's so many variables. I can't know everything about reality. It's just impossible, but I can know as much as possible so that I can make the most accurate predictions and I can do the most well sort of the most fruitful actions, the most productive actions. And actually, this, if you notice, this sort of meta strategizing and thinking about life and what you're going to do is actually one of those actions that you're taking to be more productive. So that in itself is a productive action, if that makes sense. And so this is something that really is important. I call it research and development, right, for your own life. You need to constantly be thinking, how can you do things better? Because then you can find newer activities, better things, far better things that you thought were just impossible before. But you can act on those and actualize them, and then actually make sure that your life is going in the direction you want. And then even the things that you want yourself, your actual desires and intentions will change. And that's also part of life and sort of going through and thinking about what you really want and all of this. And so the point of this video is to really try and be more strategic about your life. Think about what you really want. And for every facet of your life, every sort of part of your life, you divided it up into. Think in this area, what's every way I can get what I want? What do I need to do? Analyze every single variable, because honestly, it'll be worth it. You'll have a far deeper understanding of the situation, and it will basically allow you to get what you want with the sort of strange degree of ease. And other people will look at you and think, how is he doing that? How has he gotten this? They won't even believe you a lot of the time. It's just, unless it's something, they can see, it's basically impossible to their eyes, right? Because it's just ridiculous for most people. That's why most people give up, because it doesn't seem possible. But it is. You just have to analyze every single variable, and you have to think deeply. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? What is every single thing that I need to consider in this area of my life? And the worst part is that it's not even that simple, because then that area interplays with other areas of life. And when these multiple areas of life interplay together, then you have to consider the links between those and how they all connect together and how they can help each other, how they can hurt each other. But it's worth it. You're really taking this time for R&D. I mean, why is R&D the biggest sometimes, cost for companies? Because it's super important, and I'm telling you that for your own life, the gains from doing this kind of R&D are even more astronomical compared to what it would gain a business. Because businesses, they kind of progress slowly, even with more research, technology. Maybe there's a big leap every 50 years with technology, but generally it's kind of slow. But for your own life, with all these facets of life, the more you discover, sometimes one thing can click everything else into place. And this doesn't mean there's a magic fix. It just means you need to keep thinking and thinking and digging and researching. And, why am I doing this? Keep strategizing about your life. And then when you do all of that, maybe one day suddenly you'll have some great insight, or something will occur to you, or some great success will happen. And then you'll say, oh, maybe I was lucky, maybe it was a quick fix. But the issue is you can't even realize properly how all of that research helped you. You just can't even realize it. And that's really the shame, is that sometimes it's like the silent ally. You don't even realize that this R&D has helped you, but you say, maybe I'm lucky, maybe I just did well today. But it's actually all of that accumulating. And if you can really start to notice that, that's very, very useful. And it will increase your motivation really to engage in these kinds of activities.